Hey, it's your Uncle Joe's Garage, powered by California Car Cover, and I have a very special guest here today, someone I've known for decades and decades. Mark Thompson has agreed to join us in the garage.
You're afraid to put an actual number on it.
I just was starting to fade, and I couldn't.
Decades and decades is probably safer.
Now, of course, in the garage, we do speak briefly of cars, and I know you had a pretty glorious one of your first ones. Was that a Volkswagen with a back seat that...
Oh, so good. It was the greatest car I've ever owned.
Why so? Why do you pick it this way?
Well, because the Volkswagen Bug, that thing, no matter what, it just... Ultimately, you want your car to crank and take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
The Volkswagen Bug did that. But I lived in a dry county, and when I was 16, my first car, the back seat is where the battery went, and there was nothing else under there. If you removed the part you'd sit on, there's the battery, and then all this room to go to the state line, which was 13 miles away, and buy beer. I could fit a case in there, and then ultimately we'd get pulled over, and there was no beer to be found. So the greatest car ever.
Oh, that's great. You know, many other people have been in here talking about putting guitar amps, and you're talking about refreshment and ways to meet girls.
Which, by the way, the beer that I would buy, I would pay about $2.50 for a six-pack, resell that for $10 to friends.
This is my friend Mark Thompson. We've worked together on and off over the years. Since you first came, I was the first guy that worked with him, and I tried warning everybody. At the same time, we've been in radio just about the same length of time. You started in radio when you were very young.
16?
16, yeah, I think
As a kid?
I was probably 18, something like that. Was it what were you looking for? The thrill of talking in the microphone, the thrill of playing the music?
It was quite literally a party, a summertime party night. We were out, girls, boys, everybody, and I'm a young kid that just wants to be noticed by a pretty girl, and wasn't doing well. It's just not. It's still a struggle, quite frankly. And I noticed that there would be chatter around the pool while the records were playing, but then when the DJ would talk, the girls would stop and listen to what he was saying.
Whoa!
And I thought, this is my end. and I will be honest in that I've never in my life had anything blind me like the desire to be on the radio did. I had a nice childhood, Little League and dogs, and but when the desire to talk on the radio came into my life, it was just blinding. Nothing else mattered. I want that.
That is very cool. Now you grew up, this is not news to him, you grew up in Muscle Shoals.
I did.
One of the most famous, couple of the most famous recording studios.
Yeah.
So you saw musicians falling out and stumbling around after they came out of the studio. But you also have, I know for a fact, you had an insight to some music if they were working up test pressings or something.
Yeah, it's a very cool way to live your childhood. There were two radio stations that were playing rock and roll or pop music, WOWL and WLAY. WLAY I listened to a lot because LAY was in Muscle Shoals. WOWL was in Florence, which is too far away. So as a kid, I'd be sitting there listening to WLAY, and they would come on the radio and say, listen, Otis Redding is in town. He's in the studio. They just finished up, what he's working on. And they wanted to hear the mix on the radio. So Otis would go over and you would hear him talking for 30 minutes, and then they would play it. And there was a lot of that. Some of that music wound up not being a hit, but it didn't matter. So I grew up listening to all this fantastic rhythm and blues. The Stones recorded there. And I remember Mac Davis was in town once, and he was interviewed in the newspaper, and it pissed everybody off. They said, why, Mac, do you choose to record in Muscle Shoals? And he goes, because you're a dry county and there's nothing else to do but work.
Hello, Chamber of Commerce. How you doing? Oh, my God. Did you ever have a desire to, any inkling to play an instrument?
I was a sloppy drummer. And I've often thought, because at a point when I was like 12, I was pretty good. I had worked at it, and and then I thought if I had had more of a brain, here I've got 9 recording studios.
Yeah.
If I had worked on my craft and then done what everybody else did, just go over there and sit in the lobby and wait for somebody to go, hey kid, what are you doing? And then try to get my shot. I could have maybe done that, but this has worked out pretty well.
Yeah, this is done well.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, also, if you were 12, then you discovered girls and the drum
That's
set.
that's
Okay, well, there we go. And radio is just a... Mark in the morning.
Yep.
I have to thank you.
Yeah, well, you get to sleep in. I don't.
Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Cue the sad music, Mikey. Okay. It's a lot of fun, though, and a lot of back and forth over the years. And we've talked about this before. I don't remember any stories about anything that we may have done. And I don't think you do either.
Well, the main thing I remember is that when I first got to KLOS in September 87, you were doing nights, and I was doing the morning, and then years kind of moved away, and you went away, and I stayed, and then you went and did something else, and then you came back, and then I stayed, and then eventually you left, and then I left, and then I show up, and you're here again. So you and I, it's really nuts and weird, but here we are working together again.
And you just explained why my credit rating is so bad. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Say hello to the family.
Hey, it's your Uncle Joe Benson right here in the Uncle Joe's Garage. Now, I know that you probably haven't been to the garage as of yet, but I've got some great news. We have created a mobile version of the Uncle Joe's Garage. A mobile version, thanks to our friends at Mike Thompson RV Superstores. Like they always say, don't miss a moment. And don't miss the Uncle Joe's Garage coming to a location you